problem. That's how you build a portfolio that makes people notice. And finally, make sure those projects show that you can climb the ladder from descriptive all the way up. And that's pretty much it. You have the roadmap, you have an action plan. The only thing left to do is decide on your first move. So really think about it. Which of these 4 types of analysis, descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, or prescriptive, are you going to focus on mastering first? Because your answer to that question could literally define the entire future of your data career.
So, you're thinking about a career in data analysis, right? But it kind of feels like every path leads to this dead end, just paved with endless spreadsheets. What if I told you there's a clear ladder you can climb, one that gets you out of that trap and into a role where you're not just valuable, but in demand? Well, today we're going to break down exactly how to do that. Does this sound familiar? I mean, let's talk about Alice for a second, because her story, it's something so many people feel, especially if you're switching careers or just starting out. You look at these entry-level jobs, and it's just a sea of the same old, boring, repetitive tasks. It's enough to make you wonder, is this really it?
So let's just ask the question straight up. Is that what you're signing up for? To be a human calculator, just plugging
Huge but. If you can master the right kind of analysis, everything changes. You stop being a data entry clerk and you become this high-paid data detective that companies are literally fighting to hire. So how do you make that jump? You know, it's not about learning a million different tools. Nope. It's about understanding and climbing this ladder, the 4 levels of analysis. Seriously, think of this framework as your personal roadmap to a career that's actually valuable. And here it is.
At the very bottom, the first rung, you've got descriptive analysis. It's just telling people what happened, the baseline. Move up a step, and now you're doing diagnostic work, figuring out why did it happen. See? This is where the detective work really starts. The next level up, that's predictive, where you're basically using AI to see the future, what will happen. And at the very top, the boss level, that's prescriptive analysis. You're not just predicting the future anymore, you're telling the company what they should do about it. That's real strategy, and that's where you make a massive impact.
And you know what happens with each step you take up that ladder? It's not just about your impact. Your paycheck grows too. We're not talking a small raise here. We are talking about a 6-figure difference. Just look at this contrast, it says it all. The basic analyst is stuck on that bottom rung, totally focused on what happened. Their role is data entry, basic reporting, and frankly, they're replaceable. But then you've got the predictive expert, your data scientist, your AI engineer. They're looking ahead, focused on what will happen. They are that in-demand detective, and their value to a company is off the charts.
And if you need proof, here are the numbers. Professionals who really master that predictive level of analysis, they're pulling in salaries between $100,000 and $180,000 a year. That right there, that is the reward for climbing the ladder. That's what it looks like to escape the spreadsheet trap for good.
Okay, so as you start climbing this ladder, you're going to want to work smarter, not just harder. So let's just pause for a second. I've got a quick pro tip that can actually make a huge difference in your day-to-day.
If you're using VS Code, please stop digging through all those folders trying to find your data sets or your script files. Just hit Control+P or Command+P if you're on a Mac and start typing the name of the file. Boom, you jump straight to what you need. It's so much faster, and more importantly, it keeps you in that creative flow state.
All right, back to the strategy. Now you know the ladder you need to climb. So what's the actual, practical first step you can take? How do you go from being just another tutorial student to becoming a real professional? This is maybe the most important piece of advice I can give you. Resist that temptation to learn every single tool, every language, and every framework all at once. I'm telling you, that is the fastest way to get completely overwhelmed and just burn out before you even get going.
So here's your action plan. It's simple. First, focus on one path. Pick one and stick with it. Second, it's time to get out of tutorial hell. Stop just watching videos and start doing things. Third, build real projects that actually solve a problem. That's how you build a portfolio that makes people notice. And finally, make sure those projects show that you can climb the ladder from descriptive all the way up. And that's pretty much it. You have the roadmap, you have an action plan. The only thing left to do is decide on your first move. So really think about it. Which of these 4 types of analysis, descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, or prescriptive, are you going to focus on mastering first? Because your answer to that question could literally define the entire future of your data career.
Okay, so let's talk about what a data analyst actually does. I mean, what they really do. Because there are a lot of myths out there, and what we're going to do today is take you through a day in the life, and I promise you, it's probably not what you think. All right, let's just get right to it. The number one fear I hear from people trying to get into this field, am I just going to be replaced by a machine? It's a huge question, right? So to explore this, let's meet someone. We'll call her Alice. She's thinking about making the switch into data analytics, but she's got this nagging doubt. You know, Alice imagines her day as just endless rows of Excel, just staring at a screen, mindlessly entering numbers until her eyes glaze over. And you know what? If that was the job, yeah, she should absolutely be worried about AI. But here's the thing, that's not what a real data analyst does. Not even close. So this whole idea leads us to what I call the analyst myth. This idea of just staring at spreadsheets all day. And today, we're going to blow that myth right out of the water.
See, on the one hand, you have the myth. This human calculator stuck with spreadsheets, repetitive tasks, and yeah, definitely threatened by AI. But the reality? It's so much cooler. It's about being a data detective. You're investigating, way more about translation.
Exactly. You are the detective who finds the truth that everyone else missed. This is so key. Your value isn't in speed. It's in insight. It's about seeing the patterns, the connections, the story that even a super smart algorithm might just skim right over.
Think about it like this. AI is amazing. It can whip up a chart in like 2 seconds that shows customer numbers are dropping. Okay, great. But why? Why are they leaving all of a sudden? AI can't tell you about the nuance, the human element behind that trend. That's where you come in. So let's make this super concrete. Let's walk through a typical Tuesday morning and see how you go from a total data mess to asking some really critical questions. So a data detective's day has a real flow to it. It's not just random tasks. You start at 8 a.m. cleaning the mess. Think of it as prepping the crime scene. By mid-morning, you're deep in the investigation, searching for the why. And then, by the afternoon, you're in the big leagues. You're telling the story to the CEO. All right, 8 a.m., coffee in hand. You're not opening up a clean little Excel file. No way. You're wrangling raw data. This stuff is a mess. It's got missing information, typos, weird formats. It's just chaotic. And you're not using Excel for this. You're using powerful, professional tools like Python and a library called Pandas to handle data sets so huge they'd literally crash your laptop. This is step 1. You're preparing the crime scene so you can actually investigate.
Okay, so the data is clean. Now the fun part starts. 10:30 a.m. is when you put on your detective hat. This is when you start asking the big questions. You see a dip in sales? Okay, so what? Is this just a random one-time glitch? Or is this the beginning of a massive shift in how our customers behave? That's the million-dollar question right there.
All right, fast forward to the afternoon. This is where insight turns into impact. It's about presenting a solution, not just a bunch of numbers. It's 1 o'clock, and you're in a meeting with the CEO. You're not there to show them a bar chart and say, numbers went down. No, you're there to tell a story. You're there to say, look, we're losing customers, and I found out why. It's that new checkout button we rolled out last Tuesday. It's confusing people. My analysis shows if we switch it back, we could save this company millions of dollars. See the difference? You're not just presenting math. You're presenting a multi-million-dollar solution. Which, of course, brings us right back to that big, scary question about AI. Is it a threat or is it a tool? Is it here to take your job or is it your new partner in crime solving? I mean, this is the elephant in the room, right? Aren't employers just going to get a fancy AI to do all this stuff? Let's tackle that head on, because the answer, well, it's probably not what you're expecting. Here's how you should think about AI. It's like your pre-assembled workstation. It's the ultimate assistant. It automates all the boring stuff, the tedious parts of cleaning data, so that you can spend your brain power on what really matters, that critical, high-level problem solving. It's a true partnership. Look at how